Hey everyone, welcome back to Lumpy Studio. We are here today, and we are here recapping The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1. This is very long awaited. Been since last year, December, since the finale of Season 1 dropped, and we're here and we're just going to be breaking down the first episode of Season 2. And I'm here with my dad, mduhzay, and so yeah, thank you for joining me.
Hey everybody.
And if you have not watched our preview yet, make sure to go check that out. We break down a lot of casting and just our theories overall for season 2. So, what were your overall thoughts of the premiere?
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was very Western. You know what I mean? Very, very space Western vibe. I loved it. It was a slow build. And the reveal at the end was amazing.
We'll get to that.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it was. I thought it was more of a side story, I would say, than what I was kind of expecting. I overall enjoyed it. It definitely started out kind of slow, but it definitely got really intense. And that reveal at the end was really cool.
But I think, it'll make more sense as the season goes on. It might seem like a side story, but I imagine that it'll fit together nicely.
Yeah. And don't forget, Ahsoka's going to show up sometime, and I'm really excited for that. I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate her.
Yep.
But at the end, I'll have a point to talk about that.
Okay.
So, we kind of start off with the Mandalorian and the child are still on their journey, and this is pretty much this happened from the start of season 1. Now it's still going on. So pretty much, the Mandalorian obviously has to return the child, Baby Yoda. So we know that's going to be coming. I'm assuming by season's end. But obviously, this show is going to have many seasons. We're hoping. So, what are your predictions for when Mandalorian has to get the child back?
So the way I see it is that's the journey, as you said. The Mandalorian has to bring Baby Yoda back to his kind, right? But the way that Mando is going to bring back Baby Yoda is to come into contact with other Mandalorian and use the network of Mandalorians to locate the Jedi and locate Baby Yoda's family or kind, right? Yeah. So I think that the season is going to be Mandalorian to Mandalorian, a connection of networks, and it'll come in contact with the Jedi and things like that. But like you said, it's going to be many seasons, so I don't think necessarily the goal's going to be met the way that maybe Mando thinks. So
it's going to be interesting because this is just season 2, and they're hoping to do 6 or 7 seasons.
Can't wait.
And it's gonna be awesome. So they can't wrap up. They have to do more, especially because Baby Yoda is such a beloved character. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I'm glad that he's still in there, and I think that it's interesting to kind of see their journey together. So we started off mainly with a big Fight Club scene.
Yeah.
So
that was interesting.
So what do you think of that overall?
Well, I think the Fight Club scene, great introduction, a lot of action, right, to the episode. But really, the plot is that the Mandalorian's looking for other Mandalorian. And so he goes into a place that's very risky to find contact. And so he goes to, I can't remember the guy's name, and the guy's name ends up, trying to capture him because they want the armor because the armor's valuable. So I think it's a really neat intro scene, but it does lead to Mando going to Tatooine, which is the home of Luke Skywalker, and so there's so much backstory. Jabba the Hutt, all of that, it takes place on Tatooine. So it's kind of a plot point to get him back to some place very familiar for the watchers.
Yeah. So, what did you think of Cobb Vanth? He was the guy with Mando this episode. So, pretty much, he was kind of like the sidekick more. So what do you think of him overall?
Well, the name of the episode was called The Marshal, and is named after this particular character. Cobb Vanth is the sheriff of this particular town, a mining community. He ends up having some Mandalorian armor. But it's not just any Mandalorian armor. It's actually Boba Fett's armor, which is just amazing to think that Boba Fett's armor is around, right? And so Vance ends up getting the armor, Boba Fett's armor, from Jawas. And so now he brings the armor, he wears the armor, and now he's declared the marshal of this little town. But I like the actor. I think he did a great job being, like you said, a sidekick. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
I feel like as far as this guy goes, I mean, the Marshal I thought was a good title, a good opening, and I think that season 1 was all about introducing the characters, and that's however it shows. Like this season, I think it's going to focus on Mandalorian. They're going to bring in more and more, and they're going to have a more complex story. And we have Sarlacc, Krayt, Dragon. So we have some dragons in this episode. We have some intense animals, and they're pretty much coming out all over the place. So what do you think of all that?
Yeah, so the Krayt Dragon is a callback to episode 4 when C-3PO and R2-D2 crash land on Tatooine. And they get out of that escape pod, and there are bones of this Krayt Dragon. So there's a callback to that. We also see the Tusken Raiders, and we see the Bantha, which is the animals the Tusken Raiders ride. And so there's a lot of callbacks back to episode 4 and 5 and 6. And then, of course, the Sarlacc pit that was the monster that Boba Fett fell into in episode 6. So there's a lot of references back to those original episodes. So the kind of the plot of this episode is the Marshal and Mando have to defeat the Krayt Dragon, and that if they do, Mando, the Mandalorian, can get the Boba Fett armor. And so that's the deal, that's the plot. And so they use the combination of people from the mining town and the Tusken Raiders to fight the Krayt Dragon. Now, the Tusken Raiders, they're after the pearl that's on the inside of the Krayt Dragon, which is kind of a sacred relic that the Tusken Raiders are really after. So, anyway, a lot of great stuff in that episode. Do we want to spoil it and tell everybody what happens, or?
We can in a second. There's another thing I want to say. So, as far as this Vanth guy goes, I don't mind. I mean, he's definitely I think he's supposed to be that guy who's, supposed to be that guy who's, like, supposed to be, like, is he bad? Is he good? But I think the sidekick character, you always have to wonder what is his personality overall. But, I feel like, as far as storyline goes, I think they did a really good job of introducing his character as like a sidekick to the Mandalorian, and the deal with Boba Fett and all the armor, which is really cool, which leads us to the ending scene. So, do you want to spoil this?
Yeah, the ending scene as Mando drives off on his speeder with Boba Fett's armor. It shows this man watching this take place from the distance, and it is the character who played Boba Fett. So it looks like Boba Fett without his armor. Armorless. He survived the Sarlacc, and it doesn't tell us how. If you read the books and the comics and stuff, there's stories back there that may or may not be canon in the Star Wars universe, but that describe how Boba Fett survived that. But it looks like he's very interested in armor. And so that will probably play out in next episode or future episodes. Hopefully we see much, much more of the actor who really played Jango Fett in the first episodes of, or episode 2 and 3.
Yeah, it was definitely a big surprise, and I'm interested to see, I'm interested to see him. Now that his armor's gone, the Mandalorian has it. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how his character will fit into the storyline more. As far as characters fitting into the storyline, of course, I said Ahsoka is my most excited for a character. So, do you have any theories on how it should be fitted in, or
Nope.
because I don't see how. Obviously, they'll fit in a way because this is such a great show, but it's gonna be
Well,
really interesting.
the Jedi is possibly one of the ways to get to Yoda's family, right? So we know that going in that they're, the Mandalorian and Jedi. So I would imagine that's where that'll plug in. Is
Yeah.
that on the way home they will run into her?
And Rosario Dawson, I'm pretty sure, is playing her.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know much about the actress, but
No,
I
I
think
don't
that
either.
I think that it's gonna be pretty cool to see Ahsoka in there, and I'm really excited for all these new characters. And it was overall, while it's kind of a side story, I think it was a great action packed. It was kind of slow, and I think that it tied season one together because season one pretty started off slow, and then it got into like all the action packed stuff. And this episode, I think, balanced it out really good and a pretty satisfying premiere. Would you
What?
agree?
Yeah. What grade did you give it?
So I would give it an A, a solid A. It was overall a really good episode, and I couldn't find any faults in it. But I typically give a lot of things that are good an A. So what about
Yeah,
you?
I also give it an A. I loved it.
So next episode, we don't have any details on it.
Nope.
The Mandalorian's one of those shows that doesn't they don't release a sneak peek until like the day before, or sometimes not at all. But otherwise, we would react to a promo for you or anything. But so we'll be back next week to talk all about the Mandalorian season 2, episode 2 for Mando Monday. Anyways, comment down below what you thought of this premiere. If you were interested in the Mandalorian, it's going to be pretty fun to continue reviewing the season 2, and so I'm assuming you're excited for the rest of the season.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's awesome.
And we have 7 more episodes left, and they're all an hour long, so I'm really excited. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video, and bye.